The story that I'm about to share was submitted by one of you guys, and it is so terrifying that till this day, the person that shared it still gets chills anytime she thinks about it. About 10 years ago, Ellie was spending time at her stepmother's farmhouse that originally belonged to her stepmother's late father. This farmhouse had an eerie vibe to it. It was surrounded by a ton of land, and it just had like this haunting sort of charm, almost like hidden secrets within the walls type of vibe. This particular night, Ellie had slept on the second floor while the rest of her family slept downstairs. That morning, Ellie woke up at exactly 3 a.m. because she was getting ready to go to this boot barn show with her dad. As she's sitting at the foot of her bed, she's facing her open door that leads into the doorway. She happens to see like a light in the corner of her eye. When she looks up, she sees this like blue figure just like run across like her open doorway. Confused but intrigued, Ellie decides to get up and walk out into the hallway to see where that came from. This is when she sees it. She sees a woman completely nude, soaking wet, with jet black hair like clinging to her back and she was wet, and these weird symbols all over her skin. It looked as if someone had had a knife and carved these symbols all over this woman's body. The woman looked as if she had just climbed out of this very murky, muddy sort of like lake water. The sight of this woman literally sent chills down Ellie's back. All she could keep thinking to herself was witch, witch, witch. This must be a witch. And then she got extremely sad. It was almost as if she was witnessing a very tragic soul who had probably drowned and is now stuck between the world of the dead and the living. Just as the woman appeared, she vanished, leaving this unexplainable, like just loss and sadness in Ellie's chest. The odd occurrences didn't stop there. There were many times where Ellie would hear unexplained laughter coming upstairs, and when she would go check, there was no one there. Another time, one of her other relatives heard two men having a heated argument on the second floor, but when they went to check, of course, there was no one there. Following that farmhouse, I ended up moving to a different location that, as it turns out, was built right on top of an insane asylum, or an old mental asylum. This is where the real stuff started to happen. I will be making a part 2.
Girl. I'm just thinking about that because I literally visualized it as she was telling the story. I could not imagine being curious, walking out of my freaking bedroom, out of my door into the hallway and seeing that. Can you imagine that? No, you can't. Yes, you can, because she's a good storyteller. Nah, friend. Everyone in that house would have been woken up. That land has some history. And I would be very interested to know, especially if, like, since her mind was saying witch, was it a witch? What is their history leading back to witches that were in that? Like, if it was Salem, like, I don't know if you have you ever been to Old Salem? Like, that would be interesting to trace that history back to the witch trials and all that. That would be crazy, bruh. Wow, that would be interesting to know. Girl, that was scary. What would you have done in that moment? And the fact that she has to live with that memory for the rest of her life.
Maybe you remember, maybe you don't, but I get sleep paralysis so often that it has a name, and its name is Robert. I haven't seen Robert in months. This may have been the longest time I've gone without seeing Robert. But tell me why. Tell me why 2 nights ago he just announced his fucking welcome back tour. But see, I have a routine. When Robert visits, I rearrange my room to fuck with him. Especially my bed, it kind of just goes back and forth, back and forth, back and forth between walls. It clearly doesn't work. It's not a permanent long-term solution, but I feel like it does mix up and repath the flow of energy, you know? Weird thing is, when I do rearrange my room, silence. No Robert. Like I said, 2 nights ago, I reunited with Robert, and so the very next day, I nearly blew my back out trying to rearrange my room, which I did. Last night, he came back for more. But something tells me he wasn't very happy about the new layout, because normally, 99% of the time, he's standing in the corner behind the hinges of my door, okay? But last night, he was at the foot of my bed. I've talked about his personality before. He's pretty reliable, fairly unproblematic. He kind of just likes to watch reality TV. Me, bitch, I'm reality TV. But here and there, he does like to spice things up with some stunts. Tom Cruise and Jackie Chan? Amateurs, basically, I sleep with a weighted blanket, and this weighted blanket has crystals in it for the weight, for this fucking reason. Sometime last night, I wake up in sleep paralysis, and I see Robert. Oh my god, hey, what are you doing here? Long time no see. Foot in my bed, right? And he starts onto my bed. Like, I'm trying best to recreate it, but his motions are bizarre. Definitely would stay away from him at the curb. Ultimately, he ends up kind of like, I don't know what, he's just a figure, but he looks like he's hunched on top of my weighted blanket, which is on top of me. That's already 10 fucking pounds, okay? And so I'm, right? But like, anyways, he like, what seems like he grabbed into my weighted blanket and pulls out, not crystals, bitch, what looks like teeth, okay? While I'm in prayer, Robert, I don't know what the fuck he was doing, but what it felt like to me is he was repeatedly slamming the weighted blanket on and off, on and off, on and off me, my chest, okay? Tell me, isn't that so rude, so disrespectful? What felt like an eternity squared, which I guarantee you was like maybe 5 seconds, he stopped. And I think it's because he got tired. Like I said, it was 10 pounds, and he doesn't really peg me as, I don't know, the hunkiest member of the squad. And he did the same fucking motion, breakdanced back off my bed, across my room, into my closet. As soon as he enters my closet, I break out of sleep paralysis, but I wake up on my side, facing my closet, and guess what the fuck I see? The lights in my closet are on. And my lights are like what, motion detected? They've never, ever, ever turned on. Ever turned on. Ever turned on. But the thing is, after a sleep paralysis episode, you're so tired. It's hard to keep your eyes open. It's hard to move. You're literally slumped. So I fell back asleep and I woke up this morning. And when I woke up this morning, I obviously remembered. So before I could even empty my bladder, I lit my Palo Santo, cleansed the closet around my weighted blanket, which I made sure there were crystals, not teeth. And I also have these like crystals that I just kind of, you know, around. I've turned into a freak. And here I am. But what's so unsettling is that a couple days ago, I saw a comment saying something like, how's Robert? A Robert update. And I think I haven't thought about him in so long because I haven't seen him in so long. But that comment stored itself on an empty rack in my subconscious, and Robert came to pick it up. But the crazier part is I went to go look for that comment so that I could film this video in response to that comment. Comment's gone. And you know, might be TikTok and the fact that we can't update TikTok anymore, but yeah, I don't know. Anyways, that's my Robert update.
Pauline. 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 Girl, what is going on? You didn't name this thing. You didn't name this thing, girl. I'm so grateful that my sleep paralysis is not like that. It's not like no Robert. Robert ain't coming to visit us, honey. Because what was that? Low key. I almost slipped in sleep paralysis today. I was sleeping so freaking good. In my daytime nap, my daytime sleeping. But the way I was sleeping like the way I have my pillows now is from my head all the way down to my lower back. That's how I sleep now. So I can stretch my whole back out. So I sleep like that, but I had found my Hershey's pillow and I had put it on my bed this morning. So it was like, it had my head like this. So it was blocking airway. And it was definitely God because I was so tired. You know, when you're so tired, you know you're gonna have sleep paralysis. That's how tired I was. That's how tired I was. But before I could slip into sleep paralysis, my neighbors with their dang on dirt bikes, which is crazy to me. And in the moment, I was just like, why are they riding dirt bikes? It's North Carolina. It rains like crazy. It's been raining for days. And I was just like, why are they riding dirt bikes? Like, it was just crazy to me. But I'm very grateful that it happened. Now, after the fifth time he woke me up because he on a dirt bike. Why am I getting woken up 5 times? 5 times because you're too fucking loud. Anyway, the first time I was grateful about because I almost slipped into sleep paralysis. But friend, no. You moving, I get that, the Francois. You moving your bed around, I need to redo my room because I need the Francois. I mean, I sleep really good. That's why I haven't moved it yet. I sleep really good on this wall. But I need to move it over there where my mirror is. Get it. But moving stuff around and then this thing ends up at the foot of your bed, girl. I think we need to do some things. One thing we do know, because you just heard me say that I don't sleep with my pillows. She just said that she sleeps with a weighted blanket. I used to have it. I'm not claiming it anymore. I don't want it no more, bro. People who have experienced sleep paralysis know that we don't sleep with anything heavy on us. Like, what? We deal with that. We already know what that is. We don't sleep in the heat. We don't sleep with our air constricted. We don't sleep like that. We sleep on our side. She was sleeping on her side, though. She was sleeping on her side. So, okay, she got that one thing. But no, I couldn't imagine sleeping with a weighted blanket. She talking about she woke up and saw the motion sensor lights where he walked to. I think your sleep paralysis is different. Like, that's a sleep D word, honey. I feel like that's what that is, because mine ain't set up like that, and it never will be set up like that. Girl, I understand what you're saying about once you wake up from your sleep paralysis, you've been fighting for your mother freaking life, praying and fighting, and you wake up and you just feel exhausted, like, oh, I'm about to fall back to sleep. Done that so many times that now I'm up. I don't care how tired I am. I'll be walking around. I'll be like, what's wrong with you? I'll be like, I was just asleep. No, I get myself up because I cannot fall back to sleep and fall in that sleep paralysis. No. And especially if I saw a light, if I was her, I would have been up with the sage, with the holy oil. I'll be praying. I'll be walking and praying, because that sounds too fucking scary. You're too fucking familiar with this person. And yeah, somebody, whoever, it probably was Robert that put that comment up so he could come visit you again. Nah, friend, that was too scary. I don't like it. I like how she told the story, though. That was funny. He was over there breakdancing on the bed. Like, can you imagine seeing it? That's scary as hell. Yo, they're making another scary movie. I've been hearing the advertisement. I'm too hyped. I'm too motherfreaking hyped, bro. Too motherfreaking hyped. Okay, next story.
So this is my cousin's comment. This is the first person that asked about the ghost stories. I will do the other ones when I go through my comments again. But let's talk about it. The house I lived in, Westminster, Maryland, 59 Pennsylvania Avenue. I'm about to show you guys the Zillow for the apartment that I lived in, because it looks nothing like what it looked like when I lived in it, but it's still pretty outdated. This is a 3-level, 200-plus-year-old Victorian, which was lived in by people during the Civil War era. Mind you, Westminster, Maryland is on the Civil War trail. So upon moving in here, I think it was like 95, a lot of weird things started happening. The first thing that happened was I just had this uneasy feeling in the house altogether. I hated being there. I had a lot of nightmares, and I constantly slept with my mom. One of the first things that happened in that house is I felt scared in my room. So I ran to my mom's room. She let me sleep there, whatever. Cool. So she woke me up in the middle of the night, and I was like, what? And she's like, do you see that? So I'm staring at the foot of her bed, and I see this, like, I'm gonna say fat. He was a fat man with his arms crossed like this. He looked pretty jolly. I couldn't see his face, but he was dressed in some old-timey clothes. Like, if I could say pilgrim, I would say pilgrim, but maybe like a little later than that. And then there was a woman standing next to him that was laughing. She was just laughing, dressed similarly. And I told my mom, I do see them. So I got under the covers like a normal child. And my mom starts praying, and I guess the next time I looked up out of under the covers, they were gone. I asked her to put on some cartoons or something because she had a TV in her room. She left the TV on all night. My mom does not sleep with the TV on. I sleep with the TV on because I'm afraid of the dark. For this reason. This house is the reason I'm afraid of the dark, for real. So my mother and I both experienced this. We didn't talk about it. I think we talked about it maybe years later, and she was like, wasn't that fucking weird? And I was like, yeah, it was fucking weird. Like, but that was just one thing, right? So again, I'm afraid of the dark. I slept with either a light on, or when I finally got like a small, y'all remember those TVs that had the like VCR in it? Because I was watching Shrek and shit constantly. The TV was on or my light was on. There was never a time I did not sleep with either of these things on. One or the other, a lot of the times both. I would wake up in the middle of the night around 3 a.m. almost every time. And I would hear things in the hallway running up and down, running up and down, running up and down. And obviously it's 3 in the morning. I drank water or something, juice or soda, whatever, and I had to pee. I peed the bed for a long time because I was scared to go to the fucking bathroom, bro. I'm not even gonna sit here and try to pretend that that didn't happen. That is the reason. That is why I pissed my pants. Or my bed. There was one night that my brother had woken me up out of my slumber at 3 a.m. demanding to know why I was running up and down the hall. And I was like, bro, you just woke me up. What do you mean? At this time, I had very, very long hair, long, beautiful hair. And it was always down or in a ponytail of some sort. He said he saw a little girl or a girl my height. And I've been like this height since I was 9, mind you, or like 10. So I was a pretty large child. And he was like, I just saw somebody that looked just like you run down the hall into the back room. And I was like, Danny, I'm asleep, bro. And now you're telling me this and I'm scared because I'm a fucking child. Luckily, I had one of those pull-out cots in my room, so he ended up sleeping in my room because he was scared too. Another time, so my oldest brother came and went as he pleased. I don't really know the dynamic or why, but that's just how it was. This was like 1998, 1999, maybe 2000. My mom decided to, treat herself and buy herself a computer. Obviously, we were all on that bitch. And if you are young enough to know about dial-up, you know it was a struggle of wanting to be on the phone or somebody was on the internet. If it was one thing about my brother Danny, he stayed on that computer because AOL, duh, talking to his little friends and shit. There was one night, and I wanted to explain this away, right? I really did, from like some electrical issue, whatever. There's one night my brother Jose came into the house, pissed off, because he's like, why the fuck are you on the computer? Nobody was awake. And nobody was on the computer. The computer started doing dial-up shit by itself. The computer was not plugged in. So he's sitting here arguing with my other brother. And I'm awake, now kind of freaked out, realizing that the computer is not plugged in because my mom was frugal, we were poor. So of course it was unplugged. And woke up the entire fucking house, bro. So we're all confused, and now I'm scared. Because how the fuck did this computer turn on and start dialing up? So that's just another instance, right? So around 10 or 11 years old, I started noticing something helpful was happening to me. We had one of those old ass TVs, right? The ones that like were in a wood frame and sat on the floor. This is something that was an important purchase to my mother in the early 90s. She was really proud to have this TV, something that she owned, and she could watch fucking analog TV in her house that she paid for. Cool. But we never knew where the fuck the remote was, right? So we had to go and like press the buttons. If I wanted to watch Nickelodeon 51, or I'd have to manually like push it to go all the way to channel 51. I'm really aging myself in this video. So I remember, I think I was watching TRL, right? And I was like, I don't feel like getting up. I wish it could just go to 51. The TV switched by itself. It turned to 51 by itself. And I was like, I don't know who you are, but thank you. Like, I decided to name this entity George. George was cool. I just thought that was his name. If I left the kitchen light on, because I told you earlier that my mom is frugal, so we were turning off the lights and shit. Like, we not gonna have no high ass electricity bill. He would turn the light off before my mom got into the living room to yell at me about it. If the trash needed to be taken out and one of us forgot. I mean, this was more annoying than helpful, but he would knock over the trash can and I would have to take the trash out. At least out the trash can, because when I was a little girl, I wasn't allowed to go outside by myself. And George helped keep the other things out of my bedroom. They were not allowed to come in. This man, entity, whatever it was, he was protecting me and I really fucked with George. But anywhere else in the house, I was not safe from those other things. So to clarify, I was by myself pretty often. I watched a lot of TV and I'd be sitting on the couch or on the floor and I didn't feel George with me in this moment, and two things sat on my couch. I watched the cushion go from this to this on two of the couch. You know, the big long three cushion couch. They were sitting next to each other. I freaked out. I ran to my room and I stayed in my room until my mom got home. My mom was pissed because that night she asked me to take out some ground beef for dinner and I did not take it out. I was not leaving my room. I held my pee until she got home and everything. I didn't like being in my bathroom by myself because I could always feel somebody with me. I got touched and pushed a lot. I've been scratched in this house. And to make matters worse, our washer and dryer was in the back of this house. This house, I think it was like, this is an add-on to the house because there's like, what do you call that shit? I'm at a loss for words. The plastic shit that goes on the outside of the house. Y'all know what it's called. Somebody put it in my comments. They made it into an enclosed room, and that was like the mud room, the laundry room, whatever. But I didn't like this room so much. I always felt like shit was watching me. I didn't like doing my laundry, even though I've been doing my laundry since I was like 5 or 6 years old. I called it the dead clown room because, one, I didn't like clowns. And that's that's the best way to describe it. Now in my adult life, I call things the dead clown room, or I call rooms the dead clown room. If I don't like going, I'm not going into a dead clown room. You got me fucked up. By the time I was 12, 13, I started hearing things. My name, I started getting touched a lot more, pushed a lot more. The like stairwell between all 3 apartments, that was one of my least favorite places in the house, minus like aside from the dead clown room. And things would just be pushing me or following me and stalking me. It was very unfortunate and terrifying. And I'm happy to say that I finally moved out when my mom and my stepfather got, together and shit. And yeah, it was a happy moment for me, honestly, because fuck that house. I still want to shout out my man's George for really protecting me in this house. I saw a lot of things outside of my door, but because of him, they never came in. And I literally asked to be protected, and he was like, fuck yeah, well, that's cool. So again, while I would like to blame things on like electrical issues and stuff, like lights would come on and go off by themselves, and that's not just George. Doors would open and shut by themselves. This house was just not a house that was a good energy to live in. So yeah, if you live here now and you're experiencing things, I'm really sorry, but I did too, so I guess you do as well. Enjoy the house.
Girl, did y'all know that AOL is still around? Oh my gosh, I was at somebody's house the other day, and the AOL chime. I was like, is that AOL? He was like, yeah. And I was just like, your age is showing. Like, what? I didn't know people still had that. I didn't know it was still around because, everything kind of changed over. Like, I used to have, what was it, Bell South? Bell South got bought, I think by Yahoo, and then Yahoo got bought by AT&T, I think. Like, what? That blows my mind, bro. No, that was scary. I'm glad you had people there. You said, George, we don't name entities. We do not. But you said he was protecting you. I'd rather have God. I'd rather have God, boo. Cause no, ain't playing them games. You play silly games, you get silly rewards, bro. No, that was scary. The fact that your mom woke you up was like, do you see that? Even though it was a risk that you was gonna be scared, not even a risk, it was a fact that you was gonna be scared too. That's interesting. I feel like they was laughing at the fact that y'all was people of color laying in probably their house. They were just like, look at this shit. Look at this. How things have changed. The tables have turned. That's probably what it was, homie. But no, that was scary, and I'm glad y'all made it out that house. It's crazy that things were happening and that early with technology. Like, they was messing with the technology that early in the game. Wow. But I'm glad y'all got out of that. Everybody was scared up in there. I don't blame you for wetting the bed. Cause I don't know, cause usually when I gotta pee. It's like, we gonna fight the whole way. I'm gonna be running running down the hallway. Get to the bathroom because I cannot use the bathroom in the bed. It just makes me feel weird, but it's a different time. He was very scared, so I understand that. But no, friend, that was scary. Your brother seeing you or somebody that looks like you running. My thing is, he saw it run to the back room. Why didn't he go to the back room? I know why, because he was scared. He was like, I just saw you, but you here. But I saw you, so tell me. I need you to tell me that was you. Girl, bye. That was scary. Like this video, follow all the creators.